Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for being here today. I'm Chris Schmidt. It's my honor to serve as the CEO of this great organization. We appreciate you all being here today, coming out in the cold. We expect a lot more of you are joining us online today for our program, and that's totally understandable because it is brutal outside. We had a meeting down the street this morning, and we walked, and we almost didn't make it back. So it's good to be here. This is one of the most important events that we put on during the year as the Bar Association. The relationship between the bar and the bench is a cornerstone of what makes this organization run, what makes this city run, and we're so thankful to all of you who've taken time away from your courts this afternoon to join us. We'll hear from 7 local jurisdictions today, administrative and presiding judges from all of those jurisdictions, and you all are the backbone of so much of what we do as the legal community in Cleveland, not just from presiding on your benches, but also being part of the education and the enrichment of all of the lawyers, both now and the lawyers to come. And so thank you again for being here. Before we get to the state of the local courts, I want to talk about the state of the federal courts for just a moment. It's been a pretty wild couple of weeks when it comes to the federal government and the relationship with the courts, especially between the executive and the courts. And so wanted to give you a little sneak peek. There's a statement that will likely be going out tomorrow with our board approval tomorrow at noon, but coming out very strongly in favor of the courts and in support of the courts. I want to read just a little snippet of that to you now. Like I said, it will be released, we're hoping, by about 12:30 tomorrow. But even though it's about the federal court, it's really about all of the courts. The title is Unchecked Power is a Threat to Democracy, says Cleveland Metro Bar. The integrity of our judiciary must be defended at all costs. When the integrity of our judicial system or the independence of our judges is challenged, our Bar Association is duty-bound to speak up. Accordingly, the CMBA unequivocally condemns all unfounded attacks by politicians who claim that our judicial system is corrupt or rigged against them in response to lawful decisions restraining actions by the executive or the legislative branches. Similarly, we condemn any assertion that the power of the executive branch outweighs or should outweigh that of the judicial branch or individual judges. These irresponsible accusations, including targeting individual judges with baseless impeachment threats, undermines the very foundation of our justice system. Our Constitution establishes 3 co-equal branches of government: the executive, the legislative, and the judicial. Each branch has unique responsibility, and each is critical to maintaining a balance of power. No branch is more important or more legitimate than any other. We urge lawyers and citizens to reject attack by any government officials that threaten this foundational pillar of our democracy. So we are not swinging light, we're going to swing big, and that's because we believe in what we say and we believe in all of you. And so thank you for letting us represent you in that fight. It'll be interesting to see what our responses are to that, but our bylaws called for us to issue statements when we feel like the majority of our members, the overwhelming majority of our members, I believe is what it says, are going to back the statement. And I feel very confident that just about without exception, we're going to have support from our members to say what we're saying. So watch for that tomorrow. Thank you. And most importantly thing I get to say now, well, 2 things. There's a reception afterwards. You should all stick around. You're off the clock at that point because it'll be after 5. And more important than that, I want to introduce you to our MC for today, our Chief Relationship Officer, Melanie Farrell. Come on up, Melanie.
All right, good afternoon. It's good to see all of you. My line lately has been, I now am the longest running employee of the Bar Association with Mary Gross retirement. So now I get the microphone. That's what I've decided. I get to speak when I feel like it. Okay, so I'll keep us moving here and by introducing our speakers as we go along. So our first speaker of today is Judge Brendan Sheehan, the administrative and presiding judge of the Cuyahoga County Court of Common Pleas. And there's your clicker. Yep.
All right. Well, thank you, Melanie, and it's a pleasure to finally see they got you to the microphone. We've known Melanie since she started the Bar Association, and they're very lucky to have you, so thank you for the introduction. All right. First of all, if I know how to work this way, left, right? No? There you go. Okay. There you go. Look at that great looking group of folks there. First of all, it's an honor to be here representing the 34 Cuyahoga County Common Pleas judges. I want to thank them for electing me as the administrative and presiding judge. And it's an honor that they trust me to be up here to represent the court. So I want to thank them for their support and their hard work over this past year. There's one, by the way, what a great looking group of folks there, but there's one person who I have to also recognize, and that is our own Judge John Russo, who is now the past president of the Bar Association. And you think about it, it is not common for a common pleas judge to sit in that role. And I just want to thank John for his leadership, the court, and also for his service as the past bar president. So thank you, Judge Russo. Round of applause. There you go. All right. So we've had judges retire this year. Judge Dan Gall, who served the General Division judge for over 34 years. Judge Bill McGinty, who started on the bench in 2019 and just served one term and had to retire because of age. Judge Shirley Strickland Saffold, who joined our bench in 1991. And also Judge John Satula, who joined our bench in 2001. And finally, Judge Kathy Satula, who also joined our bench in 1991. What a loss in terms of experience on the bench this past year. So when we walked into the courthouse in January of 2025, we had a whole different group of judges. And I want to thank our 4 retiring judges. And if you want to hear about their careers and how they've managed and navigated through the judicial system, we have on our court webpage in a court news a podcast of them. And it's really some great stories about their histories and stories they tell as being a judge. So it's a great, great podcast, and it's hosted by our own Darren Toms. All right, new judges. We have Joy Kennedy, who came from Cleveland Muni Court as a magistrate. She took over the docket of Judge Shirley Saffold. We have Judge Kira Krivash, who succeeded Judge Tim Cleary, who was appointed to the seat of Judge Michael Russo, who passed away in October of 2023. We want to thank Judge Cleary for his service as a judge on the bench. And Judge Krivash has joined us, and she's moving along and doing a great job. We have Judge Carl Mazzone, who was an assistant county prosecutor who joined our bench, took the docket of Judge Dan Gall. We have Judge Lauren Moore, who joined our bench, but Judge Moore brings a lot of experience. She served 21 years on the Cleveland Municipal Court, and she handled drug courts. She worked as a public defender, a chief city prosecutor. We're very lucky to have Judge Moore. She's taken over the docket of Judge, oh my goodness, I'm just having a brain freeze, Kathleen Satula, thank you. We have Molly Ann Murphy, who left juvenile court as a magistrate and joined our bench. She was also a former assistant county prosecutor, worked as a criminal defense lawyer, and she took the docket of Judge John Satula. And finally, Judge John Spelsey, who joined the General Division Court. He worked as both a assistant municipal court prosecutor, private practice, and we're very lucky to have Judge John Spelsey join our bench. All right, departures. We want to thank Judge Dina Calabrese for her long service on our bench and congratulate her being elected to the 8th District Court of Appeals. Her contribution to our courts, especially in the mental health docket and developmental disability docket, was extraordinary. The 8th District is very lucky to have her. Their gain, our loss. Right now, we're waiting for the appointment to her docket from Governor DeWine, but that docket is currently being handled by a visiting judge, Judge Janet Burnside. All right. Now some sad news. In early January, we lost former administrative and presiding judge, Judge James J. Sweeney. Judge Sweeney died peacefully at his home at the age of 83 after a lengthy illness. Aside from his law career, Judge Sweeney worked in the Army from 1960 to 62, and also he would be the first one to tell you he was a proud U.S. postal carrier. Judge Sweeney worked as an assistant county prosecutor. He was elected the administrative presiding judge from 1993 to 1996. Judge Sweeney left our court and went over to the 8th District in 2000, where one of his stellar staff attorneys was the own Aaron O'Toole. Now, Judge Sweeney was a friend and a mentor to me and many others on the Common Pleas bench, and we were saddened this year by his death. Also, Judge Lillian Green passed away in April and was on our Common Pleas bench from 1987 until her resignation in 2008, when she became the elected Cuyahoga County Recorder. Judge Green was the first Black female elected to Cuyahoga County Common Pleas Court bench, General Division, without being appointed first. She was the second Black female to serve in a non-judicial political office in Cuyahoga County government when she became the recorder, and we're saddened by her death last April. All right. Some deals with our criminal dockets. As you can see from this, our dockets are very busy. Through November of 2024, we had 11,632 cases that were filed in the General Division Court. In that same period, which is nice to know, we disposed of 11,714. So what does that mean? We're closing out more cases than we're bringing in. Our judges are working very hard to keep that docket current. So I want to thank all our judges for that. On the civil side, well, that's our clearance rate, but you don't care about that. All right. All right, civil cases. In 2024, we had 18,392 new civil case filings. In 2024, we had 19,004 civil case terminations. So again, we're clearing more than we are receiving, which is good. All right, trials. In 2024, we had 205 jury trials and 152 court trials. Of the jury trials, 170 were criminal and 35 were civil. Now, the 152 court trials, 89 were criminal and 63 were civil. All right. Local rules. A couple things just to tell you what happened, local rules with our court. Local Rule 21 had to deal with arbitration and 39 had to deal with e-filings. These two changes were to clarify that arbitration appeals cannot be e-filed. That's what those two rules say. Local Rule 30.3 had to deal with our Veterans Treatment Court, and it expanded and clarified their eligibility. And finally, 33.0 was assignment of counsel. It was an update to the fee schedules. All right. Some specialty dockets. All right. These are our drug courts. Our traditional drug court is handled by Judge Kelly Gallagher. Our medically assisted treatment court was handled by Judge David Mattia. And this year, Judge Mattia celebrated his 15th year as a drug court in June of 2004. And if you go to our web page, you can see the video commemorating his celebration. We have Judge Joan Sinnenberg, who handles our recovery court. This court deals primarily with victims of human trafficking. And then new to the court is Judge Kevin Kelly. Judge Kevin Kelly is handling our HOPE docket, which is helping others prosper every day. Judge Kelly took that docket over from Judge Bill McGinty. And the HOPE docket are for those who are at high risk of rearrest, have longer criminal histories, and struggle with moderate to severe substance use disorders. All right. Our mental health docket. It's chaired by our own Judge Shannon Gallagher. Also on that docket is Judge Jennifer O'Donnell, who joined the docket after Judge Dina Calabrese was elected to the court, to the 8th District, Judge Tim McCormick, Judge Emily Hagan, and Judge Mike Shaughnessy. All right. More specialty dockets. Our commercial docket. Our commercial docket is judges are Judge Cassandra Collier-Williams, Judge Peter Corrigan, Judge John O'Donnell, and Judge John Russo. And I looked at the number today. In 2024, we had close to 500 cases referred to our commercial docket, just so you know how it's being used. Now, this is probably the best looking slide. This deals with our high-risk domestic violence docket. That's Judge Sherry Madej. Veterans Treatment Court is handled by Judge Andy Santoli. Reentry Court is Judge Nancy Margaret Russo. And I don't know who that guy is at the end, but that's our violence intervention docket. One thing I mentioned last year about our court, we had screened all individuals who had gambling addiction problems, and we continue to do that. There's no specialty docket, but everyone who comes through the court gets screened for gambling. And we found that it's a root issue to a lot of the crime being occurring in our county. So it's kind of a neat little thing that we're doing, and hopefully it continues to reduce violence in our community. All right. This hire, our own Niaida Nosiabar, has been with our court now as a new deputy court administrator. Judge Earley just started talking to me last week because of this hire. We stole her from Cleveland Municipal Court, where she was the human resource and personnel director there since 2002. Niaida works with our court administrator, Greg Popovich, and our deputy court administrator and director of court operations, Andrea Canast. And we're very thankful for all the work she does. All right. Jury duty. What happened in jury duty? As I told you before, we had 205 jury trials, 170 were criminal, 35 were civil. We still have a call-in system in place. The jurors love it. Our voters really appreciate the fact that they get called for service and that they get a summons and they call the number and they don't have to show up if they're not needed, show up when they do, and they're there. They all have expressed positive experiences once they've got on the jury panel. And one thing about jury trials, I will say, I know everyone's interested, the visiting judge's rules and protocols still remain in effect. What is that rule? Well, if a judge is in a trial and they want to spin a case, they have to ask me, and then I have to ask 32 other judges if they're available to try that case. If they're not, then we can ask for a visiting judge. So you can ask, well, how many visiting judges have we had since the visiting judge rule has been followed that way? And the answer is 0. All right. Jury improvements. What have we done? Well, we've prepared designs for a new jury room. If you think about this, we get close to 1,000 people that come to the 4th floor of the Justice Center, and they're sitting in furniture. I always joke 1970 furniture, but we want to make it comfortable. We want to give them electronic abilities to use their laptops and phones and just make it more comfortable. So we're redesigning our jury room. Hopefully that'll be done this year. We added Mondo pads to each jury deliberation room and their own personal coffee. So when you hear a juror say, well, I didn't get coffee up there, that's a lie. We now provide coffee for our jurors. All right. Mediations, real quick, mediations. We've had, in 2024, we had 2,811 referrals to ADR. We had 2,740 mediations and 71 arbitrations. For a total resolution for the mediations is 1,492, which is about a 55% settlement success. All right, what can you do? What can you find out about our websites? Our statistics are updated monthly. Each judge, there's 6 new judges. You want to look at their webpage to find out their court and trial preferences. We update court news on that webpage, and we also have links to all our specialty dockets. So I please remind people to look at our webpage. All right, county jail. The capacity at the county jail is approximately 1,800. That's been in that could potentially be in that county jail. Judge Eileen A. Gallagher sitting there saying, I thought it was 2,400, but it used to be 1,800 now. We have, since COVID, been maintaining a jail population of around 1,500 in that county jail. And again, that's all of the success of all the judges working hard, the lawyers, the litigants, and everyone trying to resolve cases. Of that 1,500 in that county jail, approximately 90% of them are there for unclassified aggravated murders, violent crime charges. So what does that tell us? Well, it tells us a lot. It tells us our specialty dockets have been successful in diverting clients from our county jail. We have a 24-hour bond service that's been successful. We're trying to expedite low-level felonies so that old adage, there's people sitting in that county jail for parking tickets, is not true. We are moving the cases out of those jails and dealing with the serious violent offenses that are still in our county jail. All right, some other updates. Justice Center. We continue to operate and make improvements on the Justice Center. And we're doing that because we anticipate to be in that Justice Center for the foreseeable future. The county government has continued to research the future of a new Justice Center. The court has been involved in those discussions and we continue to be, but I would like to say they're in the infancy stage. And I can tell you one thing, that there's one positive that our court, we're determined always to make sure that, and I think everyone is, the county, everyone, to keep the Justice Center downtown, whether it's a renovation or a new Justice Center, it will be downtown. All right. As for the food at the Justice Center, guess what? We have an RFP out for a food vendor to operate the fourth floor cafeteria and the first floor coffee machines. So stay tuned for that. All right. Some other court projects. If you look in that first photograph there, that's my courtroom, 22C. We put Mondo pads, big visual screens on the wall so jurors can see visual evidence. Lawyers don't have to bring in those screens and their own video equipment. We have modernized our courtroom. And if you have a trial that has a lot of visual evidence or you need a lot of visual evidence, please tell the judge, hey, I'd like to try that up on 22C. We have it as a prototype to try to work out the kinks, and our goal is to have all our courtrooms looking like that. One of the things we did is we figured the lighting was so dark in that room that we actually put new lights in. And we couldn't believe, but there was a lot of dust in that courtroom we never even saw. So we have new LED lighting in there, and obviously decreases on energy consumption. One of the other things we did, we've installed AED devices on all the court floors. And a couple years ago, their Buffalo Bills football player, was his name Hamlin, who ended up having an AED saved his life. And our judges said, we need to have those in all of our courts. And I'm getting waved with the time. I thought you were waving at me. I'm waving back to you. She's waving at me. So I'm going to finish this up, but we do have AEDs there. Just a couple other things. We've updated technology in the arraignment room. We purchased metal detectors for each floor. So if there's a high-profile trial that you need, there's metal detectors and scanners. The last slide I'm going to tell you is what we've done to update in the future of lawyers in our courts. We do courts in the classrooms. We reach out to mock trials. We have student visitors. We do Memorial Mondays. We host Stokes Scholars, all trying to remind everyone in this day and age that the third branch of government is important and very important for the balance of power. And we talk about that to our young kids. So anyways, that's the update for the state of Cuyahoga County Common Pleas Court. And I'd like to tell everyone the state of the Common Pleas Court is strong. So thank you for the opportunity to speak. And I was told 30 minutes. I'm joking. Thanks.
You told me 30 minutes. That's how that went. Okay, thank you, Judge Sheehan. Thanks for wrapping it up for us here. Okay, next I would like to bring up Judge Michelle Earley, the administrative and presiding judge of the Cleveland Municipal Court.
I thought you were going to skip me because Judge Sheehan took my time. Whew, all right, let's stretch. I'm Judge Earley. I'm the administrative and presiding judge of the Cleveland Municipal Court, and have a brief presentation for you today. This is where the newest member of the Cleveland Municipal Court is supposed to be, but he's not here yet. He or she's not here yet, so we do not have the person to replace Judge Lauren Moore. We did add 3 judges in last year. Well, actually, they started in 2024, which would have been Judge Johnson, Judge O'Brien, and Judge Strickland Sappho. Our court I'm not sure why I'm doing the anti-Sheehan now. I'm going through my slides too quick. So we have a hybrid of operations. We're still doing a number of online video conferencing, but the majority of what we're doing is in person. So the majority of our hearings and the things that we're doing as a court are in person. Our access to justice online is continuing, with the exception that now the sheet that we have that we're passing out, it doesn't say because of COVID-19, but we're still allowing people to resolve their minor misdemeanor non-moving violations online with the approval of the county prosecutor. So if someone has a moving violation and there are no accidents involved, they can submit a form online and they get a no points non-moving violation with time to pay included, without a fee. In addition to that, our online forms have generated or have allowed over 3,600 people to not come to the courthouse. So we've had 913 pleas of not guilty, 1,026 guilty pleas, and then over 1,700 people have requested time to pay online. We also, because we exclusively work with the Public Defender's Office, unless there's a conflict, have a form on our website that allows individuals who have cases pending with the court to fill out a form online and request the assistance of the Public Defender's Office. In 2024, we had over 4,000 requests for the Public Defender's assistance from that online form, and that's an increase of over 1,000 requests. We also have on our website assigned counsel process, and that's for when we have conflicts with the Public Defender's Office, and we're able to resolve 118 cases through that. We have e-filing. It's e-filing. So we have access to e-filing. And then again, we're still doing our video hearings, and we have on our website that each judge has a number and a login that remains the same, so it never changes. We have a case management system. Anyone who knows that you have a new case management system, we have its ups and downs. Okay, now, was it moving this fast with you? It couldn't have been. Am I touching it too much? Okay. So with any case management system, obviously we have its ups and downs. We're actually going through a process of doing some updates, so that's forthcoming, and hopefully it will be as painless as possible process. We have our pretrial services department, which we're always quite pleased with. We have had, it allows us to do public safety assessments, court supervised release, and then electronic monitoring, which is GPS, electronic monitoring, or SCRAM devices, and that department monitors those individuals. We did over 5,000 public safety assessments, which is an increase from 4,800 last year, and that's through our 3D misdemeanor and felony arraignment court. And out of that, we've had over 1,600 pretrial services assignments, which was up from a little bit over 1,500 from last year. Did I skip something? Well, I had another slide with some graphics, but it's gone. Judge Sheehan took it, so. It basically showed that, which is kind of important for the purposes of pretrial services, it showed that through our pretrial services department, we have a 95% success rate of individuals who are in pretrial services who have not committed any new criminal offense. And we've got a 96% of the defendants who have no CSR violation or court supervised release violation, which means they have not had any tampering issues or entered any exclusionary zones. So we're quite proud of that. We also have court dockets, first offender program, probation department. Oh, I had another slide. Where did they go? So through our specialized dockets, through our specialized dockets, we've had we have the Veterans Treatment Docket, which is presided over by Judge Patton. We have the Mental Health Docket, which is Judge Sweeney. And we have the Human Trafficking Docket, which is Judge Marilyn Cassidy. Judge Lauren Moore did the Drug Court Docket, and I am currently presiding over that docket. In addition to that, one of the things that we have is coming. All the way to the end. Jeez. Put it this way. Huh. Can you please? I wanted to finish quickly, but not that quickly. No, just right. I'm like, what happened? So this is what happens when you have a Tyler case management upgrade and then your computer at work crashes. So you have to go home and send it through your home computer. So if we can go to the, well, this is good. Let's go from here. These are our highlights from the specialized docket. Next slide, please. These are the pretrial services numbers that I spoke about. Can we go forward? Okay, mediation. So prior to hiring, we hired a new mediation coordinator in 2023. Prior to that, we had little to no movement in our mediation department for the small claims mediation. In 2023, when our mediation coordinator started, we had about 59 cases that were small claims cases that were resolved. And in 2024, she has resolved 245 cases, so she is doing an amazing job, and we're really happy to have her. Next slide. For our expungements, just this year alone, we've done over almost 2,800 expungements and sealing of court records. So we are really, really busy regarding doing that, especially with the new rule that indicates you have to be done in 90 days. So big push. Within 45 and 90 days, so not like you can't do it before 45 and you can't do it after 90. We have a couple things upcoming. One is clearing up registered warrants. We have 600 registered warrants that are currently in the system that are just sitting dormant, and we are now giving people an opportunity to come in and clear those up. So we're sending out summons to the individuals so that they're not getting arrested, they're not having an incident with the police, they're not creating dangerous situations. So we're having them come in, and we're doing this on Friday. So we're doing it every Friday until we get all of them cleared up. Some people obviously may not appear, but at least we're giving people an opportunity to come in and clear their warrants and not have to do it by turning themselves in. Next slide. Oh, look at that. So on Friday, we had our second annual Valentine's Day wedding. Mayor Bibb joined us, and we married 49 couples. So had a great time. Judges were very happy with that. We're also doing a community outreach, partnering with Cleveland City Council. That should happen in March of 2025. Next one. We got one after that? We have one after that? Well, yeah, you can, oh, okay, I'll do this and then you can do the thank you one. So, I'm like, what happened? I think you guys are trying to sabotage me, so I'm up here as long as Sheehan. So we have 2 judges retiring in 2025, so this will be their last year on the bench. We also will be losing a lot of institutional knowledge. We have Judge Patton, who joined the bench in 2006 and presides over our Veteran Treatments Court docket, and Judge Marilyn Cassidy, who joined the bench in 2007, who created our Human Trafficking docket. Now you can do the thank you one.
All right, we'll do a quick battery swap. Okay, thank you, Judge Earley. All right, Judge Anthony Russo is making his way up, presiding judge of the Cuyahoga County Probate Court. All right.
Good afternoon to the CMBA, my fellow administrative judges, and bar members. I'm Judge Anthony Russo, and I'd like to thank you for the opportunity to be here today to discuss the vital services provided by the probate court to the citizens of Cuyahoga County. It's been an honor and a pleasure to serve as the presiding and administrative judge of the probate court for the past 16 years. I'm fortunate to work alongside my esteemed colleague, Judge Laura Gallagher, who serves as the only other judge in our court. Magistrate Jennifer Alexander serves as our court administrator, and Courtney Verardi, our deputy court administrator and senior staff attorney, will soon be sworn in as a magistrate as well. Magistrate Heidi Koenig remains our chief magistrate, along with Jay Neighbors, Sarah Lekwinski, Jennifer Alexander, and Vita Syracuse, who serve as front office magistrates. Magistrate Ann McCafferty serves as Director of Guardianship and Adoption Services and is supported by Magistrate Roberta Vanetta and Magistrate Melanie Giamaria. Magistrate John Specia is our Director of Psychiatric Services, while Magistrate Joe Sikowski oversees our Accounts and Inventories Department. The Clerk's Office is led by Terrence Huber as Director, with Claire Kinnear recently joining the court as Staff Attorney. In total, the probate court is comprised of 75 staff members, including 2 judges, 10 magistrates, 2 staff attorneys, and 61 deputy clerks. Currently, the probate court has more than 18,000 pending cases. A detailed breakdown of the case types is provided on the slide. Additionally, in 2024, the court issued more than 6,400 marriage licenses. Court proceedings involving the loss of a loved one or guardianship matters concerning a friend or relative can be deeply emotional and overwhelming to many people. Recognizing this, we established the Probate Court Resource Center to provide essential support to self-represented parties for simple estates, uncontested guardianships, and name changes. The Resource Center offers assistance with probate forms and court procedures. It's open 4 days a week from 9:30 to 3 o'clock, providing both in-person and telephone appointments. 14 attorneys offer their services each month. Since its inception, the Resource Center has assisted over 4,300 individuals, making sure they have the support and guidance necessary to resolve their probate matter. In 2022, the Probate Court established the Assisted Outpatient Treatment Program with the goal of reducing both the incidence and duration of inpatient psychiatric hospitalizations. AOT is a community-based mental health treatment program available to individuals who are subject to a probate court civil commitment order. The program's court-monitored and designed for participants diagnosed with severe mental illness, encouraging them to adhere to their treatment plans and remain engaged with their providers. Success in the program is marked by the participants' commitment to their treatment goals and regular court hearings with their treatment managers present. The Probate Court has a full-time program coordinator who assists the Director of Psychiatric Services, Magistrate John Specia, in monitoring this program. Probate Court currently has 28 individuals being served by AOT. The Probate Court's the superior guardian for more than 7,000 adult wards, mostly elderly, who have legal guardians appointed by our court. To provide oversight for this vulnerable population, we established the Guardian Partners Program. This initiative involves proactive, in-person wellness checks to ensure the ward's well-being and to identify any potential abuse, neglect, or exploitation. In 2024, approximately 3,500 in-person visits were conducted by our Guardian Partners. Since the program's inception, every one of our 7,000 wards have been visited personally at their residence by a Guardian Partner. The program includes 1 full-time in-house Guardian Partner and 14 community-based Guardian Partners. The in-house Guardian Partner is an experienced social worker and court investigator, while the community Guardian Partners are licensed social workers or other professional individuals. This program is fully funded through our court's existing budget, with no additional funds necessary from the county's general fund. In collaboration with the County Executive Chris Ronayne and the County Fiscal Office, the Probate Court has developed and participated in the Great Estates Program. This initiative provides residents with essential information and assistance regarding property transfers to avoid probate, as well as guidance on probate and non-probate transfers, covering real property, personal property, and bank accounts. Since the program started in 2023, either Judge Gallagher or I have attended and presented at all 15 Great Estates community events held at various locations throughout the county. The response from the public has been overwhelmingly positive, with each event attracting a large crowd. We have two more events scheduled with additional sessions to follow. You can check our website for dates and locations. In 2024, the Probate Court offered 2 free walkthrough CLEs designed to provide a detailed summary of the Probate Court function and Probate Court updates. These sessions concluded with the walkthrough of the court, offering participants valuable insight into the court's operations and procedures. Following recent updates to our accounts and inventory department, we hosted 4 free workshops designed to assist attorneys and their legal staff in understanding and navigating these changes. Due to the overwhelming response, an additional session has been scheduled for February 21st. Registration is available on our website. Additionally, in collaboration with various agencies, the court hosted a name change and birth certificate clinic on January 6th, providing birth certificate corrections and name changes for transgender individuals. The court has enacted and amended several local rules in the past 2 years, which are outlined on the slide for your reference or can be viewed on our website. Thank you again for this opportunity to discuss these important initiatives of the Probate Court. We remain committed to enhancing and expanding the services provided by the Probate Court for you and for all the citizens of Cuyahoga County. Lastly, as the presiding judge of the Probate Court, it's my responsibility to appoint the members, the trustees of the Cleveland Metro Parks. So right now, in closing, I'm going to show you a short video of the Cleveland Metro Parks, which I hope you enjoy the video, and I hope you also enjoy the Metro Parks. Thank you very much.
2024 was a tremendous year across Cleveland Metro Parks as the 107-year-old Park District celebrated major achievements from its second century of stewardship plan and continued its priorities of protecting nature, connecting communities, and inspiring conservation of our world. Strategic efforts helped preserve natural resources, improve park access, and create a more sustainable and healthier region, including the completion of the multi-year restoration work at Garfield Park Reservation. Major partnerships, grants, and generous donations helped improve connections to nature for all, elevate the guest experience, and laid the groundwork for dynamic opportunities to invest in Cleveland's East Side and create a more equitable and connected Emerald Necklace. Cleveland Metro Parks continue to innovate to reach hundreds of thousands of people of all ages through education and recreation programs and events. Cleveland Metro Parks golf courses, including the addition of Ironwood Golf Course in Hinckley, continue to draw record play and recognition. It was a tremendous year at Cleveland Metro Park Zoo. From the arrival and integration of baby Jamila and several iconic species, to new adventures and the return of popular community events. The zoo also set the stage for its sesquicentennial, breaking ground on the primate forest, which will expand and enhance the historic rainforest.
As we close out 2024, we have so many things to be thankful for. First and foremost, the amazing leadership of our probate judge, Anthony J. Russo, and our Board of Park Commissioners. Their amazing leadership has taken Cleveland Metro Parks to new strides and raised the bar every single day. And to our amazing staff, it goes without saying, they are the backbone of everything that we do here at Cleveland Metro Parks. Service before self goes a long way in saying what we do for the community each and every day. As we close out 2024, I can't help but look forward to an amazing 2025 on the horizon. Thank you for everything you do each and every day.
really neat. Okay, let's move right along to Judge Eileen Gallagher, the Administrative Judge of the 8th District Court of Appeals. And we're getting a fresh clicker for you here, Judge. Oh, okay.
We have two slides, so it doesn't matter. Greetings from the 8th District Court of Appeals, my 11 colleagues. We appreciate being given the opportunity to be here today. This year, on January 1st, we welcomed Judge Dina Calabrese to the court. She took the place of Judge Frank Daniel Calabrese III, who was required by age restrictions to retire after 24 years, and we miss him. There has been a reorganization of our staff. Bridget O'Brien left us because she got elected to the Cleveland Muni Court, and we hired 2 people to replace her. They're here today. Jacob Dykus is our Chief Legal Officer, Deputy Court Administrator. James McGlone is Deputy Court Administrator of Court Operations. So Bridget had big shoes to fill, and we had 2 boys that had to do it. Aaron, Jim, and Jake, why don't you stand up and wave? Mr. McGlone's prior position with the court was our en banc attorney. And when he was named one of our deputy administrators, 2 new staff attorneys were hired whose primary responsibility at this time is to review the applications for en banc and eliminate the backlog of those that were filed last year. For example, in 2024, 73 applications for en banc consideration were filed. Only 1 of them was granted by the full court. It involved a criminal sentencing appeal, and it was State versus Fontanez. The rest were dismissed. I'm going to say this once because it's a pet peeve of mine. May I remind the bar of this county that the purpose of en banc request is not for a second bite of the apple. Appellate Rule 26 provides, upon determination that 2 or more decisions of the court are in conflict, an appeal or proceeding may be considered en banc. Merely because a party is dissatisfied with the outcome of the direct appeal does not trigger Appellate Rule 26. Our 2 new staff attorneys join our 2 veteran staff attorneys, all of whom screen cases as they are filed. They also serve public duty, so they meet members of the public who come in with questions when they're pro se litigants. They answer questions from attorneys, either in person or by phone, and they handle all of the original actions, the drafting of opinions on all of the writs of procedendo, writs of mandamus, writs of prohibition, petitions for habeas corpus, and writs of quo warranto. Pursuant to the rules of appellate procedure, all of our hearings are audio recorded. If you'd like to obtain a copy of any hearing, you may find the appropriate request form on our website under the Forms tab. In 2024, there were 1,350 new case filings with the 8th District Court of Appeals. Our clearance rate was 91%, and from hearing to the release of an opinion, the average was 59 days. Of course, there are swings both ways, and for a variety of reasons. But the court ultimately rendered opinions in 1,235 cases, including 63 writs in 2024. We have changed our process of identifying individuals in our opinions, and this specifically relates to divorce cases, where the issue before the Court of Appeals is not an issue relating to children of the marriage. We have hidden the identity of the litigants in the past, if by some chance they have children, but they're arguing over the garage door opener. That's not going to happen anymore. John Doe and Jane Doe's names are going to be right out there. We will no longer use initials. However, we'll continue not to disclose in the caption of a case or in any opinion the identity of any child, party or victim in any juvenile division case, parties in an adoption case, or the defendant in an expungement case. Also, the names of crime victims and adult victims of sexual violence will not be revealed. Our wonderful and talented court mediator, Newton Cargill, has been in his position just for a few years now. He's been extremely successful in resolving cases, and we're hearing wonderful feedback about him from attorneys participating in the process. Last year, he mediated 117 cases. A number of them had multiple hearings, but ultimately 47% of those cases were settled. They include every type of appeal, but for criminal and delinquency matters. We have made a minor change to our Local Rule 21 relating to oral argument. Under Section D2, any motion to advance or postpone an oral argument or a motion objecting to same should indicate the movements as well as the non-movements preferred forum via remote technology or in person. Notwithstanding the party's preference, however, the court in its discretion may reschedule the oral argument via video conferencing pursuant to Local Rule 21. As has been our tradition, panels from the 8th District have traveled to both Cleveland State University College of Law and Case Western Reserve University College of Law to hear oral arguments before the students at both universities. In addition, we're working to reinstitute our courtroom to classroom program that had to be put on hold because Bridget O'Brien got elected to the Cleveland Municipal Court. Panels of the court hold off-site hearings at local high schools. And if you know any teachers or principals, educators that are interested, we're trying to solicit their participation, and it has not been easy. Our annual Advanced Appellate Advocacy Seminar will take place again this year, but we know not yet which law school will be hosting the program. Last year, over 300 people participated in the CLE program, both in person and watching online. The program offers up to 6.25 CLE credits at no cost to the participant. It's in the planning stages, so watch for our website for the date and location, but it's run traditionally in November. Lastly, I encourage any of you who are interested or know anyone who is interested in handling assignments in the 8th District Court of Appeals to look at our website and complete an application to serve in order to be included on our court's assigned counsel list. Our contact person for assigned counsel is Mary Pat Horwitz, administrative counsel and conference attorney for the court. We have enjoyed a long, happy year last year, but for also, and I'll echo Judge Sheehan, the loss of our dear friend and colleague and mentor, Jim Sweeney. He was a great asset to our court and to me personally. And I never had an opportunity to say this to my colleagues, Judge Russo, Judge O'Malley, Diane, I'm not sure if Judge Palos was the administrative judge at the time, and Judge Sheehan. We at the Court of Appeals had a very easy transition during the COVID problems. Those judges who were the administrative judges of their courts at that time rose to the occasion and kept the wheels of justice moving in Cuyahoga County to us, to an observer, seemingly without issue. I know I'm sure, worked their hearts out to do it, but they did a marvelous job, and I applaud you all for that. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And I was going to add one more thing about James down there. He was last year's pickleball tournament champion. So I think that should be, I know, I'm going to tell him. And we're doing it again. So you get a shout out. Okay, next we have Judge Diane Palos, the administrative judge of the Cuyahoga County Domestic Relations Court. Thank you, Judge.
This thing gonna work? Well, I'm just glad I'm not right after that video. Sorry. All right, it's working. So welcome, everybody. Thank you. We have 5 judges in our court. This year I've got their names in order of how they're standing. Myself, Judge Reale, Judge Celebrezzi, Judge Goldberg, and Judge Jones. Again, if you recall from last year, I've made everyone a little taller and thinner because that's always good. This is our mission statement. It's important because our staff actually created it, and I think you'll see that it's about helping people, and I think that that's what our staff is totally dedicated to. We don't have a new picture of our magistrates. We've had some change, so I did this. Let's say that spacing the names is not my strong suit, but we have 4 different kinds of magistrates. We have trial magistrates. It's up in the left-hand corner. Each of those people work for one of the judges. And the other right-hand corner, those are motion magistrates. They also each work, one of them each works for one of us. Bottom right are our support magistrates. That's a pool. I'm sorry, bottom left and bottom right are 3 domestic violence magistrates, which I am unfortunately here to tell you is our growth industry. So we have 3 people dedicated. We posted for a 4th this year because our numbers spiked so much in the summer, but they've settled back down. So we're waiting to see if that's going to happen or not. But we've pulled the posting. So incoming cases, it looks like, we're just heading up to the sky, but really what you don't know is that in 2019, before COVID, the number was pretty close to the number it is this year. It was like 7,450. So we've gotten back to where we were, which I think is important. We've recovered from some of that. Our clearance rate, these are the different kinds of cases we have: marriage termination, parenting, child support, domestic violence, and then all the other motions that we have. We're at 100% on all of those. Except that it didn't really translate in the emailing. Sorry, it doesn't make a heck of a lot of sense, but I guess that's how the little chart shows up. But the 1.0 is really 100, one is 100%, and the others are all above 100%. I don't know where those little numbers come from. So the thing was so big that we couldn't email it. We had to do one of those transfer things, and not my strong suit. Local rules update. We actually signed 3 different rules. One, I didn't make the cut because we talked about it last year, but we signed it early this year. But that's rule number 7, and that just gives the attorneys the ability to withdraw from their cases and not get, after the case is done, and not keep getting clerk notices, which happens because we have continuing jurisdiction. So lawyers were complaining that they keep getting notices for 100 years. So now they have the ability under that rule to file a motion to withdraw once they're done, and we can take them off from getting notices from the clerk. Advancing and passing of cases, all that really, the only addition there was that attorneys have to notify us if they need a continuance as soon as they know about their conflict right away. 41 is a completely new rule. It basically tracks the rule of superintendents. It's pretty long, but what's really important there is that the burden to omit the identifiers, that is on the attorney or the party, not on the court or the clerk. Also, if you're going to request documents, you need to request them from the clerk. I think maybe you don't know, legislation was passed last year that all courts in Ohio have to accept e-filing or some kind of electronic filing. And we have been doing that for many years, but as this goes on, we're getting more and more paperless, and we don't have a file necessarily to give somebody. So again, the clerk is the person who has the file. That's where you go to get the file. And I think that's important information to have. Other rules that we've been working on, well, we had one proposed rule that nobody seemed to like. It was to screen on DV cases for lethality, but attorneys felt that it created liability for them. I don't think it did. What it really did was allow attorneys to comport with the rules of professionalism and the rules of ethics, that they find out what's really going on in their cases. We're still working on, we have a sort of a little group, the people that have volunteered to try and see how that's like and what happens and what kind of feedback in the case if they've screened and what their clients are saying. the rule was voted down, and let's just say there was a lot of negative responses to it because people thought that it meant that they had to certify that there wasn't domestic violence. Well, that what they were certifying was just that they had asked about the domestic violence. So if we repropose something, it's probably not going to be certifying language, but I think it's incumbent upon everyone in a domestic relations case to inquire if there's been domestic violence and what the level of it is, and whether, you know, the children are impacted or not, and you know, how recent it is, and if it's just related to the divorce or if it's something that's ongoing. A couple of other rules were in progress. We just firming up our civil protection order process rule and our objection rule. It's a little convoluted, so we were trying to just streamline that one. Our help center, this is kind of amazing. In 2021, 2022, a lot of different things were consolidated. So the help center takes calls not only from attorneys, but from litigants about the divorce, as well as the domestic violence cases. So again, another growth industry. It isn't really individuals help, but it's individual contacts. So it might be one person might have called 8 times, but it's 8 different contacts with somebody at our court, either by email, by telephone call, by something else. And our navigation services help self-represented people prepare their complaint for divorce. They help the petitioners in the domestic violence department prepare their petition for domestic violence. They help the parties getting divorced prepare the judgment entry for divorce. They also review all of the judgment entries of the attorneys to make sure that all the magic language for child support and other things are in the judgment entry. So huge growth industry. And to help that, we have now created an online platform. Well, okay, we didn't really create it. Ohio Legal Help created it with a grant funding from the Supreme Court Technology Grant. And we went into business on this last September. They're still working out a lot of bugs, but this is the screen that comes up now on our website for people to, again, same thing, everything the Navigation Help Center does. Prepare the complaints for divorce, prepare petitions for domestic violence, prepare the judgment entries, other kinds of motions or pleadings. So throughout this platform, people can email or call and have an individual at our court respond and help them finish the document. So it's not like we're just leaving them out there with a chat bot. But if they don't need somebody or they want to do it at their leisure on Saturday night, they can. So I think that's it's an amazing thing, and it's really going to streamline what we do. Keep going. What's happening here? All right. So our DV CPOs, as I said, somewhat of a growth industry. What this doesn't show is this is just filings, including the motions that we heard. It's well over 2,100 this year. And it's more on all those other years too. But this year, as I said, 2024 was a landmark year. Our numbers this summer, we never saw anything like it. Just huge numbers every day. Like I said, we posted for a 4th magistrate, but then the numbers, we didn't find anybody, and the numbers dialed down. And so we're continuing with 3 people and hopefully automating things and doing some of the other prep work that we do is going to enable us to stay with 3 people. We have a justice system advocate from Journey Center for Safety and Healing who's in our building full-time, helping people, doing lethality assessments, helping them through the system. Under the umbrella of family evaluation services, we have a lot of things going on, and a lot of this stuff relates to rules of superintendents that kind of recently have changed in the last couple of years. The parenting evaluations rule of superintendents 91 created standards for the mental health professional to do a parenting evaluation. We have 3 licensed mental health professionals internally who do those referrals. Right now we have 6 outside mental health professionals who are qualified under the rule to do these cases. I would say it's 6 and dropping. A lot of these people are retiring. Nobody seems to want to come in and do these evaluations because they get subpoenaed and pretty much raked over the coals. These are our most contentious cases where there's often mental illness and substance abuse and a lot of other things. But if you know anybody who's a mental health professional, tell them they should look at Rule Superintendents 91. There's 40 hours of free training that's amazing to help people become a forensic evaluator. And again, it's a growth industry. Under the auspices of Family Evaluation Services, the person running that department also is the custodian of our guardian ad litem list and our parenting coordinator list. Again, these are recent, PCs are fairly recent rule of superintendents. Guardian ad litem rule was amended sometime in the last 5 or 10 years. Again, those are outside attorneys, sometimes psychologists or mental health professionals who come in and do some kind of evaluation and help us determine parenting. As for the GAL, the parenting coordinator, the PC, that's a person who, in a high conflict case, basically becomes the tiebreaker. The parties agree to hire that person, and they go to that person for smoothing out things, not changing orders, but just, you know, can I come 15 minutes late tomorrow night because I have a dentist appointment? And you'd be surprised, but that could be a really big fight that lasts like 5 months and costs a lot of money if you come to court for it. So that's what the PC's do, and it's very helpful, and those numbers are growing. We also have 2 in-house mediators. Numbers are fairly consistent, over 200 cases. But again, when they're mediating, there's not like 1 hour. It's sometimes 3 or 4 times, usually at least 2 hours every time. What happens with a lot of people is they'll agree to go, but then they don't settle. And then 6 or 8 months later, they've realized that was a bad idea and they go back. So the mediators really do several hours on each case, and they do accomplish quite a few of these cases get resolved, and they end up with a shared parenting plan or some kind of parenting plan. I've talked to you about this before. In 2018, Judge Jones received some grant money, and within her docket, she has a mental health and substance use disorder docket. She takes cases that need to slow down and have some mental health or substance abuse counseling done. She has funds to do that and sends some people on her docket for that counseling. It's a very successful program, and it's been a great thing. It's only bad we all don't have the funds. Judge Celebrezzi created something called PAVE. It's Parents After Violence Education. It's an education program that lasts 6 months. It's a weekly program that can be done on Zoom to try to get the batterer parent to understand their behaviors and to, improve, try to get so that they can have more parenting time. It's basically nascent. We need a pilot. We need to identify cases for the pilot program. We don't have enough cases right now in the pilot, so I would ask anybody at municipal court or juvenile court who have some married people, preferably, but parents, people who are trying to co-parent and have some domestic violence, we can take people from other courts to get into our pilot program. This education has been created by national experts. You see the funding, the State Justice Institute, the Ohio State Bar Foundation. The program is amazing. The education is great. We just need to see where it fits in, and we need some help with that. We applied last year for this grant, and we're going to be part of commemorating the 250th anniversary of our country. We're going to have a capsule in our courthouse. There'll be some kind of an event in May. You can go on our website. We're accepting anybody's contribution to that, what our court's like, what's happening right now. I think it's be fun. So maybe projects for kids even. We don't care. We'd like anything to be put in that capsule. So I'm asking you to go ahead on our website and try to get us some more contributions to that. And that gets us to my last boring slide, the modernized website. Now, I've been at the court for like next month 40 years. The first 10, we didn't have a website, we didn't have the internet. But since we've had the last 30 years since we've had the internet, this is at least the 3rd or 4th, possibly 5th modernization. I will say that it's probably 6 months into it. I can actually find things now. So it only took 6 months to find where they are on the new modern website. We probably aren't going to modernize this for another couple of years, so get in there, learn it, and beware, because it'll change again anytime soon. That's all I have to say. I want to thank you all for your patience, kindness. Have a wonderful day.
Okay, thank you, Judge Palos. And here comes Judge O'Malley, the Administrative Judge for the Juvenile Court Division of the Cuyahoga County Court of Common Pleas.
When do you press? Oh, that side is, okay,
And point it that
that way. All right. Well, to the CMBA, thank you for allowing me a few minutes, and I will be brief to give you an update of what's going on at juvenile court. Okay, there's 6 of us, if you didn't know that, and our mission statement is to administer justice, rehabilitate juvenile support, and strengthen families, and promote public safety. There is Judge Allison Floyd, Judge Kristen Sweeney, Judge Jen O'Malley, who often gets questioned, is she your wife, is she your daughter? Neither. Judge Ann McDonough and Judge Nick Celebrezzi, and I want to thank them for their support, because being an administrative judge, as the others that came up here, if you don't have their support, this job is terrible. I totally have their support. I include them in all the meetings, which is easy because there's only 6 of us, and I just want to thank them. There are 27 magistrates, along with the 6 judges, and we have 32 courtrooms, so if you do the math, we have more jurists than we do courtrooms. These are a few of the topics I'm going to talk about. The first is juvenile court's usually in the news when something bad happens. This year, in 2024, Cleveland.com did a Cuyahoga County Juvenile Court Invest in Second Chances. If you get a chance, read it. I think it's one of the better editorials that they've written about juvenile court. The other is we invited Caitlin Durbin, the reporter from Cleveland.com, Cleveland Plain Dealer, into the court. Now that was a risky ask, if you will. She wanted to come in. I was, every time I get a reporter in there, sometimes it goes sideways. She had access to all the files. She had access to the clerk's office, detention center. And I don't know if any of you saw the articles that she wrote. They were very insightful and very accurate. She spent 6 months at juvenile court, and she met with some of the families. She got waivers from the families to look at the kids' reports. And the articles that she wrote, I think, were very insightful of what goes on at juvenile court. We've also partnered with Judge Sheehan in the General Division for the Violence Intervention Program, and we have the OJJDP, we talk in code at juvenile court, the Ohio Juvenile Justice Delinquency Prevention. And these are programs that are designed to keep kids from coming in the front door. At juvenile court, we have 498 employees. We hired 134 individuals in 2024. If you think about that, it's unbelievable. All I do are interviews. Because by the time you vet the applicants, do the interviews, it takes months and months. We still have 79 vacancies. So if you know anybody looking for a job, tell them to get on our website and take a look, because we're hiring every day, and at 134 in 2024, we're doing interviews every day. Let's see. Okay, in 2024, we had just short of 10,000 filings with the court, most being delinquency or criminal. The second is the family court docket at 2,938. In the family court, if you remember, if you're not married and have children, you come to juvenile court for your issues, support, enforcement, visitation. And those are usually the pro se litigants, and those are the cases that take a long time, because people come in, they all think they're lawyers, but they're not. And you know the saying, if you represent yourself. Our goal is to prevent cases from going official. And if a case does go official, our goal shifts to not having them come back. If you look at this slide, the diversion, one of the ways cases don't go official is we send them to the diversion program with the cooperation of the county prosecutor's office. All the cases are reviewed to see if they're divertible. We had a 79% success rate. So 540 of the 684 cases that were diverted were successful. Those 540 would have gotten official court numbers, which would require expungements on misdemeanors and create a lot of unnecessary work. The diversion program wraps the young person in services immediately. You know, sometimes when you're arrested by the suburb, your case doesn't get down to us for months, and the issue's already resolved itself. As a result of our diversion program being successful, we've been able to focus our probation department on felony offenders, which is huge. So about 80% of their docket now deals with felonies. In 2024, there were 479 youth on probation and 781 on home detention. And the court has 7 home detention officers and 30 probation officers, so those folks are working really, really hard. Bindovers, they're a pretty popular topic everywhere I go. I get, I don't want to say blindsided by the bindover topic, but I'm used to it by now. In 2024, we had 69. As you can see, 6 youth had both mandatory and discretionary bindover. Compare that to the 2,998 cases that went official, plus the 540 that were diverted. Bindovers are less than 2% of what we handle at juvenile court, but they're 90% of the media. Sorry about that. We're always looking to improve our conditions of confinement in the detention center. You may or may not know, but the Cleveland Public School District downtown campus is in our detention center. It's a school. We have a library, we have computer rooms, we have gymnasiums, we have principals, and we have teachers. And in fact, we had one individual that was detained in the detention center, college graduate, and we had 21 youth who were detained in the detention center in 2024 graduate from high school. When they graduate from high school, we hold a graduation ceremony, complete with a cake. We get caps and gowns for them. They're done individually. And we invite the family in so that they can witness this, because a lot of times this young person is the only person in their family that has graduated from high school. The detention center in 2024, and this may not sound like a big deal, but they passed the Ohio Administrative Code inspection. That is, if there's a roll of toilet paper not in the stall, we don't pass. So it's a very intense, they're there for about 3 weeks trying to nitpick, if you will. But we passed it, and my shout out goes to Jason Lanzo, who's the superintendent, and his staff. Other things that are happening in juvenile court are Edwin's, Brandon, and I'm going to butcher his last name, Chudowski, who owns, what is it? Christowski. He now runs a culinary skills in the detention center for the kids. The big question was, what do you do with knives? We worked that out. He also just was awarded the contract for the cafeteria. If you're at 93rd and Quincy, if you can afford to go to the Cleveland Clinic for lunch, that's about the only place that's close. So he's going to start small. I met with him a couple weeks ago. He is, and if you know his story, he brings people that had trouble in and out of prison to work for him. So they're going to come into the juvenile court and run our cafeteria. We also, with the help of County Executive Chris Ronayne, right now you can only take 10 kids out into the yard, and if you've driven by juvenile court, you know that's a pretty big yard. They're going to divide it into 3 separate areas so we can get 30 kids out at a time. We've also just been awarded money to get them foul weather gear, if you will, so that they can get out there other than on sunny days. We have a literacy reading program, vocational, and a resident advisory committee where we meet with the kids that are detained in the detention center and get their input on how we might be able to make things better. This is a big one. MedWorks Dental. I was there on Saturday, February 8th, and MedWorks Dental provided dental care to the kids in the detention center. You may not think that that's a big thing, but some of these kids that I talked to had never been to a dentist in their entire life. We screened all 125 kids in the detention center, and we did them by critical care that they needed. 51 on that Saturday received dental care. We're looking forward, they're supposed to come back, so we're looking forward to that. The detention center average daily population in 2024 was 160. We had 698 admissions. If you look at this, we try not to have any misdemeanor offenders in our detention center. Today we have 116, 125 was when I submitted this. We have 30 youth that are in the bind-over process. 27 of them are over 18. We keep them until their 21st birthday, then we transfer them down to the Justice Center. And 28 are in there on homicide or murder. So it's not, all the research shows that you don't put misdemeanor offenders in with serious offenders. And the 3 juvenile that are in there on misdemeanors are in CFS custody. And if we release them, they go to Jane Edna, and you know what happens if they go to Jane Edna, they run. So we have them in there so that they can find placement for them. Grassroots agencies. Now, we have, next slide. These are the folks that are, we call them the mom and pops of Cuyahoga County. We brought them in and we helped them navigate the county's RFP process, which if you've ever seen it, it's very confusing. So we help them fill out, we have contracts with all these folks to help with mentoring and educational vocational skills. And as a result, they are in our detention center. And the whole idea is to help the kids when they are released from the detention center to have some skill set. The car theft program, police were upset with the juvenile court because we wouldn't take kids that were caught in cars, stolen cars. Not true. If you carjack somebody, it's an automatic admit. But if you were caught in the car and there's no evidence that you were the individual that stole the car, we would not take you because it'd be a low-degree felony. So what we did is, in cooperation with Cleveland Police, we started it in the 1st District. If you're caught in a stolen car, you come to the detention center, you're put on a GPS electronic monitor, you're arraigned the next day, and we expanded it countywide, and now they're doing car thefts as well. And we had 84 youth admitted into the program. All 84 reported to court the next day. For a variety of reasons, they all weren't successful, but we had almost an 80% success rate. And that is all I have. This picture, this last picture is Miss Neville, who won the Franklin Polk Public Servants Merit Award, and she dared me to put it up on the screen.
Okay, we have our final speaker for today, Judge Moná Scott, the Administrative Judge of the Cleveland Housing Court.
Good afternoon, y'all. I'm gonna try to make this real fast because hate being the last one. It's like going after lunch. But here we go. Thank you, CMBA, for this opportunity to talk about the state of the court. Unfortunately, this is not as detailed as I would like it to be. Do you have the kiosk? Is it just, oh, point this? I see why everybody was looking confused. I'm pointing this way, which? Okay, thank you. All right. Yep, we have our budget hearing this week, and I just got back from 2 weeks in Thailand, so didn't quite have the opportunity to go over this information as thorough as I want to. These are my magistrates. I have 8 magistrates. We just lost one to juvenile court. That'll be leaving soon, so I understand a lot of the judges, as I've heard, are looking for staff, and it's always hiring, but you know, good staff is hard to find. But these are the individuals that keep my caseload moving, especially with the eviction, small claims, and second cause hearings. And just to give you some insights, I also have my magistrates assisting me with criminal pretrials. We had 1,044 criminal cases that were filed this year in housing court. And we had, just trying to see how many civil cases we have filed. I believe it was 7,000. No, 6,592 civil cases, making it a total filings in housing court of 7,636 cases. Some of the initiatives that we are still doing, which is tenant clinics. We're still working on our e-filing with the new case management and trying to meet the mandate by the Ohio Supreme Court. The difference is two divisions in Cleveland Municipal Court is General Division and Housing Division. General Division moves bodies through their system, we move property. So we have to set that up a little bit different from what Judge Earley has to do with the General Division. New laws came out for the city of Cleveland, Residents First laws, which cause us to have to come into compliance and help the city of Cleveland meet those requirements that they're putting on property owners in Cleveland. So we had to go back and readdress our local rules and how the court moves forward with regards to rental registration, which is now called CAIRO, Certificate of Proven Rental Occupancy, and the lead safe certification, and those things. We have a slide. 7,636 cases. We've had 63 landlords in 2024 attend our landlord workshop. 14 vendors participated. Resource clinics attendance is usually when we partner with some of the members of Cleveland Council and go out to educate the residents in the city of Cleveland. We had 1,114 evictions that actually took place, and we had 1,500 mediations, successful mediations. This is how many people touch our resource center and our housing court clinic. We answered 7,600 calls. We returned 2,500 voice messages and in-person visits to our first floor clinic to get forms, to get guidance and assistance. We had 2,300 people that made an appearance. There's heavy volume in housing court. My housing court specialists are the individuals that run the clinics. They're also the individuals that do the mediation or assist with the mediations. And they're always there as our customer service rep, the first people that you touch in Cleveland Housing Court. Currently, some of the local rules that we are tightening up on and reintroducing, we have not submitted ours yet because we want to give the opportunity for the public to make comments. But it was some things that I felt needed to be cleaned up. The scope of the housing court's community control and what that looks like if a defendant individual or defendant LLC is placed on housing court's community control, also known as probation. Definitely needed to clean up the word writs because that was becoming very confusing. This hasn't been touched in years. The local rules were created by Judge Pianca, and they used the word writ interchangeably. And so some people was using that to their advantage to not be able to distinguish between a writ of restitution, which is you have the right to get your property back, versus the writ of execution, which is the actual order that's signed off by me for the move out of individuals so that the landowner can get their property back. And then also e-filing. We're still a hybrid system. We did have the second cause hearings returned back to in person, but our first cause, which is the bulk of the cases on our civil docket, is still virtual. We finally fully opened the 4 kiosks at the Cleveland Public Library, but you can see we only had 76 visits there, and that is because Cleveland Public Library opens at 10 o'clock. Our docket starts at 9. So we're still having more volume of people coming in to use our 13th floor kiosk and our 3rd floor kiosk. Just to wrap it up, this is the court's 45th year anniversary. And so Tower City has agreed to light up for the court on April 2nd, 2025. The colors blue and gold. On behalf of Cleveland Municipal Court, but to recognize the Housing Division's 45th anniversary. We'll also present something before the City Club coming up in, I believe it's that April. And then April is also Fair Housing Month. So April's a busy thing with regards to housing, but we want to just make acknowledgement to Cleveland Housing Court for being established on its 44th year. Thank you.
Okay, that wraps up today's program. To receive your CLE credit, don't forget that you'll receive an email after this is all wrapped up tonight, so that's how you'll enter your information. And no, we're good. We're 5 minutes over. That's not too bad. That's not too bad for our judge friends. You guys did wonderful. Thank you so much for speaking today and giving us your updates. And if you would like to stay, hopefully you'll join us for our reception right out on our balconies. Thank you so much.